Many thanks to you. Great to talk to you from New York.
Good to see you.
Joining us now from Los Angeles, Dave Jacobson, a Democratic strategist and campaign consultant with Shonland Communications. You see him on the left.
Also in LA, John Thomas, a Republican consultant and founder of Thomas Partners Strategies. Welcome to both of you, gentlemen.
Yeah, and John, let's start with you. This was a real win for Donald Trump. It puts him closer than anyone on the Republican side to the nomination. Is it time for the Republican establishment to stop resisting him now?
Yeah, tonight what Donald Trump did was he reset the narrative in this race to prove that he has Big Mo as we head into the following states and really the make or break for Donald Trump, which is going to be California. And so what he did really smartly tonight is we saw a shift in his rhetoric. He started, instead of calling Ted Cruz Lion Ted, he called him Senator Cruz. And that's to underscore the fact that Donald Trump wants the Republican Party and the Republican voters to know there's only one anti-establishment candidate. And look, I think the party's going to have a really hard time if Donald Trump picks up more and more steam to block him from the nomination.
And Dave, it seems mathematically impossible for Bernie Sanders at this point to win the Democratic nomination, but he's still insisting he will be in the race right up to the summer convention, essentially a thorn in the side of Clinton. She has reached out to his supporters. How likely is it in the long run that they will eventually come on board if she's nominated?
Look, had Bernie Sanders won New York, it would have been the biggest political earthquake of the decade, right? I mean, this was a devastating blow for his campaign. There's no doubt about it. I think, look, Clinton's objective is to capitalize on the momentum from New York, win all these states next week in the Northeast, Connecticut, Delaware, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, and do whatever she can to not alienate the Bernie Sanders supporters. You know, we had the same challenge in 2008 where everybody said after Hillary Clinton got out of the race, oh, Hillary, there's a select set of voters for Hillary Clinton who are not going to support Barack Obama. We even saw polling that indicated that. But over the course of the general election campaign, when voters had a choice between Barack Obama or John McCain, they swiftly moved over to Barack Obama. And so I think as long as Hillary Clinton doesn't sort of alienate, Bernie Sanders supporters moving forward, I think she'll be able to do precisely what Barack Obama embraced in 2008.
Dave, I think it's a different, respectfully, I disagree. I think it's a different case in 2008. First of all, a poll as of last week, 25% of Bernie Sanders supporters said under no conditions would they ever support Senator Clinton. And I think in 2008 it was a different story. Bernie Sanders supporters support him not just on policy, but they support him because they fundamentally believe that there's too much money in politics and Wall Street and the establishment is controlling our politicians. And the fact is, Hillary is beholden to Wall Street, and Sanders, people believe that, and Donald Trump isn't. So I think Hillary has a much more unique challenge than Barack Obama did.
Well, let me ask you both what you expect to happen next week, the next Super Tuesday contest where 5 states head to the polls. What are the essential points that we should be looking out for?
Well, I think, look, Pennsylvania is the most delegate-rich state, and I think that was one place where Bernie Sanders might have had a possible pathway to sort of running up the score against Clinton. But I think because of her commanding victory in New York, it's going to be hard for him to make a case that he's viable moving forward, that there's sort of a pathway for him to get to the 2383 threshold needed to get the nomination. And I think slowly but surely, his national poll numbers are going to start to dip. I think his fundraising is going to start to lag. And I think his case that he's got a pathway moving forward is increasingly going to become more difficult.
And it's interesting, despite Trump's big win in New York, he's still insisting the system is corrupt. I want to take a listen now to what he had to say about that very issue Tuesday night.
Nobody can take an election away with the way they're doing it in the Republican Party. And by the way, I am no fan of Bernie, but I've seen Bernie win, and then I watch, and they say he has no chance of winning. So they have their superdelegate. The Republican system is worse.
Okay, John, how long will he keep pushing this line as he builds on his lead in the delegate count? It's clearly resonating, though, with some voters, isn't it?
Yeah, Rosemary, I think he's going to push this all the way until he thinks he wins the nomination as it locked down. He's doing it for 2 reasons. One, it's an insurance policy. In case he doesn't win outright, he has an issue that he's going to take to the convention. And secondly, look, this is certainly on the Republican side, this is an election about outsiders. And you're seeing even Ted Cruz tonight start saying that he and Bernie Sanders both have something in common because they're both outsiders. So whoever can claim the mantle as being the real outsider in this race is going to have a distinct advantage. So I think we're going to see this narrative go all the way to the convention.
And just quickly, John, why is John Kasich still in this thing?
That is a great question, but tonight was his night to shine because obviously New York a moderate Republican might appeal to New York voters.
I mean,
He didn't get it.
Manhattan, but that was it.
Right. I think the problem he's going to have going forward is people are going to ask that exact question. They're going to say he can't win. He has no delicate shot. But here's the real kicker. He wasn't a good fundraiser before, but after a night like tonight, his money will dry up, and campaigns need money to keep going.
Interesting. All right, well, Republican consultant John Thomas and Democratic strategist Dave Jacobson, thank you to both of you. There'll be a lot more discussion about all this in the hours and weeks ahead.
Thank
Many
you.
thanks.
Thanks for staying up late for us, guys. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Now, with her victory in New York, Hillary Clinton